Does hell really last forever? Okay, we're going to take a look at hell eternal. The common culture view of hell is a lot of confusion. There's erroneous beliefs. Some people just say there is no hell. There just can't be a hell. Even though the Bible does pretty clearly talk about it, they just say it can't be. A loving God could never do that. Other people say it's a place of conscience, physical torment forever and ever. It's literal physical fire and brimstone. It's a place of horrible, horrible pain and suffering. So that seems like the other end of the spectrum, which we'll find is not true either. Another person might say it's an organized place where the devil and the demons they govern, and everybody it's their own community. It's not God's community, but it's a place where perhaps it's almost like a party atmosphere where all the unsaved people can reunite and sin all they want. Other people believe that hell is just complete annihilation of body, soul, and spirit. And that churches often battle over that topic. There's some denominations that believe that and many others that do not. And there's verses that appear to support both sides of that argument. So we're going to look at that in this study, and we're going to try to come to a biblical view, a balanced biblical view. And the important key that opens this up for us is understanding the spirit, soul, and body. And that's why this is part 24 of that series. And if you understand clearly the body, soul, and spirit and what the purpose of those are, the ultimate hell, the hell eternal, becomes a bit more clear. Okay, so the purpose is and we might recall that the soul is the connection to the physical created world. Whether we saw last time it's the new heavens and the new earth at Judgment Day, and right now it would be connection to this physical world. The spirit is our connection to God, and that's why an unsaved person is spiritually dead, because they have no connection to God. But a saved person is spiritually alive. Hell now, as we saw many studies ago, is a place of silence and darkness, and it's a place where the unsaved dead await final judgment day. But the purpose of this study today is to look at that final judgment day and beyond. What is hell eternal really like? And just a review of hell now, and this was from parts 8 and 9. Remember, hell now, it was called Hades is the Greek word, and Sheol is the Hebrew word, and it's an unseen, it's the place of the dead. And we determined by using the Bible that it really is a place of isolation, silence, darkness, no communications with the living, there's no hope, no purpose, no knowledge, no worship or praise of God. It's similar to being asleep. And that's how hell now is, and that's for the unsaved people. Saved people, of course, would be with Christ in heaven. Okay, but hell eternal, which is at judgment day, the final day, the last day, and beyond, it's described mostly by the word Gehenna, which occurs 12 times in the Bible, which is based on the Valley of Hinnom in the Old Testament, where child sacrifice took place. But besides Gehenna, which is translated as hell in the New Testament, it's called the lake of fire, everlasting fire, the second death, everlasting destruction, blackness of outer darkness where the worm does not die, a place of torment by fire and brimstone, a place apart from God. So there's all these names and descriptions of hell eternal. And we have on the website, we go through this in a lot more detail and provide all the verses. But that's what hell eternal is. It's after Judgment Day. It's the ultimate end state of the unsaved people. Okay, so, and we find that hell eternal, Gehenna, it's a place of destruction of the soul. And we saw this verse a couple times before. Fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. And that word hell there is Gehenna. It's the final judgment day. It's the final hell. It's the eternal hell, if you will. And we see that the soul and the body for the unsaved person are both destroyed. It doesn't talk about the spirit, the soul, and the body. Also, Matthew 23:33, you serpents, you generation of vipers, how can you escape the damnation of hell? And Matthew 18:9, and if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. It's better for thee to enter into life with one eye rather than to have two eyes to be cast into hellfire or Gehenna. So in summary, we see that the soul is destroyed at hell eternal. And that's why there's always some confusion, because there's verses that talk about, like Matthew 10:28, that the soul and the body are both destroyed. So some people say, well, it's annihilation. There is no eternal hell. So, and again, the soul is destroyed because it's put into hell because there is no connection to the new heavens and the new earth. The saved people are in the new heavens and the new earth for eternity, but the unsaved are not. So their soul is destroyed in hell because it's disconnected from the physical creation. But we say that even hell now, the hell that exists prior to Judgment Day, that's going to be cast into the lake of fire on Judgment Day. And hell now will become hell eternal, which is the lake of fire, which we'll see on the next slide. Read Revelation chapter 20 here. I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no more place for them. This is the judgment day, the day of the Lord, God's judgment day. And death and hell, and that word hell there is Hades, which is the hell now. It's the hell prior to hell eternal. Were cast into the lake of fire. And the lake of fire is a symbol for the hell eternal. And importantly, this is the second death. We remember in Matthew 10, verse 28, that only God can destroy and kill the soul in hell on Judgment Day. When one dies physically, the soul doesn't die. The soul goes to a place called hell now if you're unsaved. It goes to heaven if you're saved. But at final Judgment Day, that's the second death. That's when the soul dies. It becomes no longer. It's destroyed. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. So at Judgment Day, all those who are not saved, not part of God's people, will be cast in the lake of fire. And we see that the beast, in Revelation 19, the beast was taken, with him the false prophet, that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived him that had the mark of the beast and had worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. That's where Satan is too. Satan, the beast, the false prophet, and all unsaved people that are not God's people. They will all be in the lake of fire. But it's the second death. It's where the soul is killed. Okay, so the second death in the soul. Remember Matthew 10:28. That fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Again, when a person dies physically, their soul does not die yet. The soul goes to be either in one of two places. A saved soul goes to heaven to be with Christ, and an unsaved soul goes to a place of silence and darkness, awaiting Judgment Day. And Hebrews 10:27, but a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversaries. On that Judgment Day, the souls are devoured. They're finished. They're consumed. They're done. And again, Revelation 21:8. But the fearful, the unbelieving, the abominable, the murderers, the whoremongers, the sorcerers, the idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. That's when the soul dies. Not the spirit. We're going to talk about the spirit coming up. But that's where the second death refers to the second death, which is the death of the soul. And the reason that the soul is destroyed and killed is that it's not going to have connection with God. Is going to set up a new heavens and a new earth that's talked about in Isaiah 66 and Revelation 21 and 22. And there's no part in the new heavens and new earth, so there's no need for the soul. The soul, remember, is the connection to the physical creation, whether it be the earth now or the new heavens and the new earth, because the earth now is going to be destroyed. So that's why the soul is destroyed, because there is no part of the unsaved soul in the new heavens and the new earth. Okay, and we also see that everlasting destruction. We see that hell was talked about as destruction, because remember, on one hand, and this is what gets people confused, hell is described as a place of annihilation. If we're seeing these verses, it's the destruction. Because it is the destruction. It's the killing of the soul. But it's also looked at as a place of everlasting fire. And one that's thrown into the outer darkness forever. that's referring to the spirit, because the spirit is not going to be destroyed. The spirit is already, if an unsaved person is already spiritually dead. So let's look at this verse, 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, and this, it refers to Judgment Day, and we'll just pick it up in the middle. And these people that did not obey the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ shall be punished with everlasting destruction from the presence of the Lord. So when on Judgment Day, the souls will be destroyed in hell. They'll have everlasting destruction. There's no chance. The destruction is forever. There's no chance for salvation any longer. And we see a similar in 1 Thessalonians 5:3. When people say peace and safety, then shall come sudden destruction, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. It's a day of destruction, because it's the killing of the soul. Okay, but now we turn to the spirit. We also see that hell eternal, it's a place of destruction, but it's also a place of everlasting fire, because the spirits of the unsaved will dwell forever in a lost connection with God. It's in hell eternal, because these spirits are spiritually dead, but the spirit goes on forever in this state of being in everlasting separation from God. For example, Matthew 25, and this is described in Judgment Day, then shall he say unto those on the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, and it's prepared for the devil and his angels. And these shall go into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal. Remember we saw in Revelation that the Satan, the beast, the false prophet, all the demons will be in hell eternal, because they're spirits. Matthew 25 is talking about spirits, and that's where the judgment is forever, everlasting punishment for the spirits. And the punishment is not physical, it's not pain, because there's no body. It has to do with spiritual punishment of being separated from God. We're made to be in fellowship with God, and these spirits, which are the devil, his angels, the demons, and all unsaved people, including the beast and the false prophet of the end time, they all are going to suffer eternal separation. Isaiah 33, the sinners of Zion are afraid. Fearfulness have surprised the hypocrites. Who among us shall dwell with devouring fire? Who shall dwell with everlasting burnings? And we see the tension there, that the devouring fire is the devouring of the soul, while the everlasting burnings is the everlasting burnings of the spirit. Again, Revelation 20, and the devil that deceived was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. There's a torment of being separate from God, who's all glorious in eternity, in the beauty of eternity. So we'll see that the spirits will suffer this eternal separation. Okay, also for the spirits, the eternal separation, it's referred to as blackness of outer darkness forever. Okay, again, it's the spirits, and we see that interestingly in Jude verse 13, and this is describing unsaved false teachers, raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. The spirits of these false teachers and false prophets, they have the blackness of darkness forever. Matthew chapter 8, and I say unto you that many shall come from east and west and sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom, which refers to in the context of Matthew 8, would be the national Israel, shall be cast into outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And those are spiritual teeth, because the body's already destroyed. It's a symbol of sorrow and torment. And again, it's not a physical, because there's no more body, there's no more nerve endings in the body. It has to do with being separate from God. Matthew 22, same idea. Outer darkness, there should be weeping and gnashing of teeth, for many are called, but few are chosen. And the spirits of those unsaved dead, and all the demons and Satan, etc., will all be in a place of outer darkness. Okay, so let's just wrap this up and do a quick summary. So hell now is the hell where the unsaved dead go to until Judgment Day. On Judgment Day, hell now is actually cast into the lake of fire and destroyed, because there's no more intermediate holding. So eternal hell, which is the Gehenna fire, where hell now in the Greek it's Hades, eternal hell is Gehenna, and it also has the outer darkness, lake of fire, other symbols for it. But in eternal hell, the soul, which is our connection to the creation, whether it be this current world or the new heavens, new earth, in eternal hell, that connection is gone. The soul is destroyed. The saved people, their soul will be connected into the new heavens and the new earth, and will enjoy all the beauty and the majesty and the being able to praise God never ending. But the unsaved soul is destroyed in hell, which is a merciful thing, and there's no function of the soul, which is the conscious being of being connected to a physical creation that we all experience all the time. But that'll be no more. It'll be gone. And then on the spirit, which is our connection to God, for the saved people, the spirit continues to be connected with God for eternity in the new heavens and the new earth in a resurrected, glorious body. And the unsaved, the unsaved spirits go into a place of separation. It's called eternal destruction, eternal fire, darkness forever, and it's with Satan and his demons, and it's a place of separation. They're already spiritually dead. They'll just be placed into that final abode of forever and ever being in outer darkness. So to answer the question, does hell last forever? It does, but only for the unsaved spirits. The unsaved souls are destroyed. The unsaved spirits do. So that's why there's a lot of conflicts within the church. Some people believe in annihilation. Some people believe in hell for everybody physically, but when we balance the body, soul, and spirit, and we look at the scriptures, it becomes very clear what happened. So in the last part 25, we're going to do a summary to pull us all together. So please stand by for part 25 of the Spirit, Soul, and Body series.